Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio. Our motto is and always will be educate, enlighten, entertain. And today on our Shoutout is Lillian Cauldwell with the star of the Shoutout is Viki Esther Chang. Good evening.
Yes, a good morning over there in Pennsylvania where you are. And I do know you are in Pennsylvania and you are located in Boston. Am I right, Lillian?
I'm in Pennsylvania and I'm located in Reading.
And near to Massachusetts,
the
right?
world famous Reading Railroad that shows up on the Monopoly board.
Yeah.
So every time you pass Reading on Monopoly, you come and see me. Just give me a wave, guys.
I would love to. I would love to. And ladies and gentlemen, just want to thank you, Lillian, and thank Passionate World, the team behind. This is me. I'm Viki Esther Chang, and I am right here at 9:42 p.m. right here in Singapore, 1 degree north from the equator. My podcast, my platform on Facebook is the Platinum Platform, and today's a shout out for Global Virtual Church, and you can find me Global Virtual Church at Facebook group Global Virtual Church, and we are going to have the inaugural service led by Reverend Stephen Mannion on Saturday, 3rd of June, 8 a.m. New York time, which is 8 p.m. Singapore time. So Lillian, just want to thank you for the past 2 days, the shout outs that we had. We had a very intensive sessions, about 15 minutes. And today I'm here with you, Lillian, from Singapore.
Well, welcome to the show. So what are you going to discuss today?
Okay, for the next 10 minutes or so, Lillian, I am going to make this announcement to your 100,000, 200,000 of listeners from your shortwave radio. And I'm so privileged to be on your radio platform, Lillian, because you are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and on your shortwave radio with thousands and thousands of people tuning in daily. So that's congratulations to you, Lillian. And because we are of a digital destiny since the pandemic times in 2021, I'd like to also announce this privilege to be with you as our partner for Global Virtual Church. So Passionate World Talk Radio, and yourself, Lillian Cauldwell, as the president of Global Network Media. Thank you so much for being our partner for Global Virtual Church. And Global Virtual Church, the inaugural service will happen this Saturday at 8 a.m. New York time, which is 8 p.m. Singapore time. And a little bit about the few of us who are anchoring the leadership of the church. A church is a church when people come together. It doesn't necessarily mean you walk into a physical environment. You don't have to physically walk into a church, but when two or more people pray together, God is with us. So, Lillian, just want to talk about the church led by Reverend Stephen Mannion, who is the leading pastor of Faith Methodist Church in New York State, Buffalo. You can find him on Facebook, and that's Reverend Stephen Mannion. So it is such an honor to be invited by him to manage this church globally, to spread the word of God to the ends of the earth. But really, Lillian, let's put it this way. The Global Virtual Church, it is based on the word of God, but really it is trying to give hope. It is trying to give out a word of message, maybe an analogy, maybe a story that can lift people up. And many people are losing faith already. We're talking about very, very volatile, uncertain times. Lillian, during the pandemic, all these companies closed down, restaurants closed down. I think beauty salons closed down. Those that need to be on physically close proximity to you, they all are closed down. Look at the fashion shops of Zara, Mango. They announced that thousands and thousands of physical shops were closed and they moved online. And moving online means those people who were mending the stores in the past, physical stores, you're talking about the shopkeepers, you're talking about those people who are sellers, doing the sales, doing the cashiers, they are clothes packer, or they are the cleaners in the shops. Now they all have lost their jobs. And we're talking about these are the jobs that will not come back, and they did not come back. And we're talking about the post-pandemic fallout now, but I promise not to talk about too gloomy today, because we've got a very tough 15-minute talk yesterday. I'm not going to scare anyone, but there is hope, Lillian. So I just want to say there are good people out there. Reverend Stephen Mannion, who is going to give his time to the global virtual church. Now remember, people who are coming together like yourself, myself, and Annette Wittenberger, and people who are going to come on later on, they are doing this for a service for humanity. Now, none of us is going to profit from this. And just like yourself doing your radio program, Lillian, you have been such a devoted woman, and a shout out to you also, Lillian. Hats off to you for what you have done for digital radio since the 1980s. You gave people a platform. You were visionary. You saw that gap, and you knew people needed to speak. People needed their stories and their voices to be out. So that's why with pioneers like you, therefore there are people like me, right? So I think it's time for us to join hands throughout the world. It's not going to be easy. I mean, there are differences, right, Lillian? But let's look at commonalities like yourself, myself. We are geographically distant. I may have to take like 48 hours of flight to where you are, because, from Singapore to JFK is 24 hours of flight. And then there's internal flight. And then probably there's going to be a bus, a car. I don't know. Maybe you need a donkey galloping to go to visit you. I don't know. But even in the depths of the world right now, it's so hard to get to the ends of the earth. But there are people who are like-minded. And I am heartened, Lillian, away from yesterday's very gloomy and doomsday kind of message. But today, I want to talk about something hopeful. Yourself, myself. People who are like-minded and people who have that spirit, when they come together, things can be done. And we don't have to talk about shaking the world, Lillian. We're talking about doing it within our means. And this is what you have done and what I've done through the podcast. Just doing it faithfully, step by step by step, and reaching out one soul at a time. So the Global Virtual Church, I just want to talk about the people pioneering it. Thank you, Lillian, for being our live stream partner. And I hope that your 100,000 to 200,000 listeners some of them will benefit from the word, from the living word of God. Really nothing too deep or spiritual. We're not going to talk about the angels or the devils or Revelation. I don't think so, but really just giving people hope, just giving people a word of encouragement. So it's going to be the exposition of the book of Corinthians 1 and 2 by Reverend Stephen Mannion. And we also have Annette Wittenberger as the principal mentor and the international principal mentor and the international principal director of the Global Virtual Church for the sector of America. And a little bit about Miss Annette Wittenberger. She is the retired major of the U.S. Army who has led 8 peace missions around the world, and she's just retired a couple of years. She's doing her work for humanity. She has been very kind to step up to be part of the leadership team here at the Global Virtual Church, and that's Annette Wittenberger, and a little bit about her you can find at the Platinum Platform, the Platinum Platform on Facebook group, and the Global Virtual Church below the Facebook group. Then you can find a little bit about Annette Wittenberger and her Facebook group. We also have yourself, Lillian. I'm not quite sure if people tuning in, they know you at all, because every day new people are coming in, Lillian. And I'm not even sure if anyone knows me. I'm just like a small little person from a small little island in this part of the world. So again, shout out to you, Lillian. Thank you for stepping up your leadership. It's very much needed. A woman like you who lead the world, who is visionary and who takes the action, commitment, and the discipline, and to be there day and night, regardless of the weather, right? Rain or shine, right? Now
Right.
that's the difficult part of things, Lillian. You'll need to have discipline. It's easy to get things started, and then it's easy kind of to disappear in the middle and not show up.
Yeah.
And then
It's the day-to-day
come
operations.
and then come at the end and get all the accolades and the credits, right? I mean,
Right.
that's the truth
Absolutely.
of
I'll take a
reality, right?
bow. Right.
Now, tell us a little bit here. We are live streaming also in Singapore. Tell us a little bit about who Lillian Cauldwell is.
Who I am. Okay, I'm a grandmother. Very proud of it. Took me a long time to get here, but I am one.
Yes.
So that's one part of me. I'm also a published author. I write 9 fiction and fiction books. In fact, I'll be having a book coming out authored by best-selling author Viki Chang, and I co-authored the book called The Gold Nuggets, Podcasting, and it's a nut and bolt guide of how to podcast and what you need to do in order to become successful at it. It's more than just speaking into a microphone or getting yourself set up and then finding a foundation to host your podcast and get everything else. I also write plays, black comedies, where I poke fun at what's going on socially and culturally, and yes, politically. Let's face it, we have a lot of clowns and high positions that are begging to be made fun of at least once or twice in their lifetime, and I really can't resist the urge to make them look ridiculous, but also expose their flaws, because their flaws do reflect back on us as a society. And more importantly, it also encourages or discourages fringe people to go to war. And you don't have to go over to the Ukraine to have a war. You can start it in your neighborhood if you want. There's a famous Twilight Zone episode where a bunch of aliens create distrust just by human behavior alone. And they figure if they did that in every neighborhood in every city, they wouldn't have to wage any war on the humans, because the humans will do themselves in by mistrust and by yes, not trusting their fellow man. They don't have to do anything. The human beings will wipe themselves out very easily. And that's a very sobering thought.
Yes.
Yes.
That's already
and
happening.
If the aliens can figure it out, who else can figure that out, right? So I am a person who observes, but I like helping people. I like helping them achieve what they feel they require in order to be successful in their show business and personal life. Coming from a rocky background myself, and reinventing myself 3 or 4 times along the way, it's really important, folks, to keep growing and to keep on challenging yourself and keep on taking what I call leaps of faith. And a leap of faith has nothing to do with organized religion. It's the belief in yourself that you can do it. And you need to do these things in order to really keep moving forward, Or I'll
Yeah.
give you a shovel and you go in the backyard and dig a hole and throw yourself in, because
Yeah.
that's what you're really doing. You cannot stay the way you are. You
Yeah.
have to change every single day in some direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do
And you
not
know,
want to put yourself in a position where you're going to grow old to die and not do anything about it. Kicking and
yeah.
screaming. That's the only way I know I'm going to be leaving this planet.
Lillian, I think you have put everything in a nutshell. And just a couple of sentences from you doesn't give you justice for what you have done. I see you have been so consistent in your devotion for putting your passionate World Talk Radio out there. It takes a lot of commitment and discipline, and it's not just these few words, because you need to plow at it every day. And for the spirit of yours, really a salute to you, what you have done for the people who are listening, who need your help, at the Passionate World Talk Radio. And I'm so glad that I've met you. So you did talk about our joint authorship for the Gold Nuggets of podcast. People, please look up for that. And we will have more coming up from the book, maybe book 2, book 3, maybe a training module, a training program that goes wireless, online, and offline, in the digital world. So Lillian, we've got lots of things coming up for both of us. A little bit about myself, Lillian, to introduce myself to you and to your audience and to those who are listening in, who are now watching, because I'm looking at the handphone to see that we don't go off online. I'm not quite sure it's clear. So I'm really looking at this, that we don't
That's
go.
right there.
Yeah, so that's you and that's me. Yeah, that someone's looking at us right now. So a little bit about myself. I am managing the global virtual church, and I myself, I think I am quietly, humbly qualified, because I've done 5 years of church ministry, to obtain a certification in church ministry in my own church in Singapore, that's headed by a church, a pastor from South Carolina himself, as a missionary in Singapore, and that's Pastor Crocker, Pastor Ray Crocker and Ginger from South Carolina, who have been here in Asia, doing missionary work, I think, for the last 30 years or so. So I've done my 5 years of church ministry studies on my own at the night, after my work and after my business, of over 5 years. And I've passed 16 modules, I think, with good grades, with 32 credits, and the certification is actually recognized by the University of Johns Hopkins there in the US. So a little bit about the academics behind, but really I'm just a novice. I'm looking at it as this is something that I strengthen myself. And along the way, if I find it helpful from myself, I hope it helps someone else along the way. So this is a very modest invitation to people. It is not ambitious to shake the world or lead a revolution, but it's something that I feel has helped me in the depths of my depression, in the depths of desperation, when I called out for help, when my mom was at her verge of her last days. Lillian, who you may know, my book Candle in the Wind, that is written over 5 years. Those final days when it was just between me and my mother, in my very big apartment here, no one else. For the last 2 years, for the last 2 weeks of her life, which I didn't know was the final 2 weeks of her, nobody would know, right? And it was just me, my
Right.
mother, and
It's not
dad.
like you're giving a yeah.
Not that we know that, and it's just me, my mother, and God. Me just kneeling down every night, crying out to God, help me, help us, give me strength, and give her time. And you'll find a lot of it in my book Candle in the Wind. It is something that I found that I needed. And it has helped me in my deepest, darkest moment, because it was really, really tough. When my mom was at her final journey, which I don't think she knows, maybe she does, but she did not communicate with me. And at that time, it was quite difficult for her to communicate already. So, and myself being so naive, I would not have known that was the final 2 weeks of her life. So it was very, very difficult for me, Lillian. But through that, I called out for help. And the only help I could find was not physical help from human, because there was none. So I had to bring my own spiritual strength to pray, to ask God for help, to give me another day of sustenance, and to give us strength. And it is through prayers, through reading the Bible, I went through the final 2 weeks, which is unspeakable, really beyond words. I'm not quite sure if I was able to write it out appropriately in the book. But Lillian, I'm just sharing with everyone, something that has helped me. I hope it helps you too. So that's the spirit of the Global Virtual Church. Nothing political, but it's just reaching out to people, Christians or non-Christians alike. If you do need a word of encouragement, do come by. It is based on the Word of God, because it is based on the Word of God. There is a textbook called the Bible. We are not going to deviate and talk about something that is outside. So there is something that you can be sure that is close to the Word of God, and not going to deviate, and not going to sell any product. We're not going to sell insurance, nor are we going to sell the health and the wealth, nor are we going to sell something that is outside. Because we're just going to talk about the Word and read the Word and explain the Word and let the Word speak to you. We're not somebody who knows what God is going to tell you. It is between you and your God. It is between you and your relationship. But the Word speaks to me in my message. So that has helped me. So Lillian, in a very modest, very humble way, I present to you and to your audience and to the world the Global Virtual Church, because it has helped me. Hopefully it will help someone down the line. So it's going to happen on the 3rd of June on Saturday, 8 p.m. Singapore time. And it's going to be 8 a.m. New York time. We have not, it is not live on it's not live on Facebook or live on YouTube, but it probably will be live on your shortwave radio, Lillian, because you are our very special partner for streaming. Thank you, Lillian, for offering to be part of us in that sense. Really a privilege to have you on. Thank you once again, Lillian. And also for today, Lillian.
You're very much welcome. It's my pleasure having you on, and for you to tell people everything, especially about the virtual church.
Thank you, Lillian. So 15 minutes up, it's over to you. I hope this shout out helps people. Again, go to Facebook, the Platinum platform, and to the Global Virtual Church for the Zoom link, or tune in to Passionate World Talk Radio. Thank you so much, Lillian. This is Singapore. It is 10 p.m. Singapore time on a Wednesday, sweaty, humid Wednesday evening here.
Yeah, it's hot around here too. I think by Friday, it's supposed to be up to 95 degrees.
Wow.
And it's going to be even hotter on Saturday. So, and which is unusual for June. It's unusual for May. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning on Passionate World Talk Radio, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Our motto is and always will be educate, enlighten, entertain. You can see Viki all over again on youtube.com/PWR Network _PW Talk Radio, on Facebook.com/Passionate World Radio, Facebook.com/Lillian Cauldwell. And you can also find by going over to the website, https:// passionateworldtalkradio.com. And on the first page, there's a player. Click on it, and you'll be able to hear all the shout outs beginning on Monday all over again. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. And remember to keep joining us every day this week.
Yeah.
And
I'll see you
especially
tomorrow.
Sunday morning at 8 a.m. New York Standard Time. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Yeah, well...